Givach and a happy Shabbos Nachamu to all. We're up to Lamed Zayin on the days. We're going to do Lav Ches. Let's just set the stage. We had the sugya of why Kamlei B'Derab Mine. We had two sources for Kamlei B'Derab Mine. One source was Misa and Mamin from the Mevlodais of Anisha. Two men are fighting. They hit a pregnant woman. They pay if she doesn't die. If she dies, they don't pay. We had Kedei Risha Asai. And that was by Mamin and Malkus. According to Meir, it's that's for Misa and Mamin. And when we got into other psukim that apparently were telling us the same din, and why was it necessary? The first pasuk we discussed was Leisichu Kaifer Lanus, Leisichu Kaifer Lenefesh Reitseach. Why do you have to take Kaifer Lenefesh Reitseach? So we thought that Kaifer is a monetary payment. So why do you have to tell me you don't take a monetary payment for a Reitseach? Of course you don't. It's Kamlei B'Derab Mine, you're Reitseach, you're dying, you're murdering, you don't pay anything. So he said the Chiddush there was to tell me that you can't buy your way out. You can't buy your way out. Once you kill somebody and you're Mechuyev Misa, you can't buy your way out. So it's not coming to tell me a din of Kamlei B'Derab Mine. It's telling me that once the Gemara din was for Misa, you can't go ahead and buy your way out. So we came up to a pasuk, and I think I want to go over that again. Let's begin parallel to the Tosfos of Barulei Misa Yafa. There's the Gemara says, so let's start there again. And we're going to touch the word charam is misa. So kol misa sheyachim in adam, any death sheyachim in a person's chayv misa lo yipada. You should not be able to redeem. So the obvious question is, I already know that from the Sikha Kaifel and Nefesh Reitseach, correct? We already know you can't redeem yourself from misa. So why do you have to tell me that? Says the Gemara, we need it for the following brisa. How do you know if a person is being taken out to be killed? And a person says his words should be on me, his value should be on me. That the nether is not chal, and he will not have to give his person's value, again, his erech based upon his years. He will be able to give it to the Beis Hamikdash. Shnemar kol choram, and now we're changing. Choram does not mean misa; it means any lashon of kodesh. Kol choram, any kodesh yachram min adam lo yipade. It's not necessary to be poida. Yachalav kodim shnig mardin. Okay, now I might think even if before the Gemara din to misa, if a person would say erkoy apoloni alai, he doesn't have to give it. Hamalay mina adam. It says from the adam, but kol adam, and not all adam. So only if the Gemara din, not before the Gemara din. Chananya ben Akabya Domar Narach Mepnei Shedamav Ketsuvim. So according to him, you would go ahead and give. In other words, there's two parshas, guys. There's the parsha of Erchin and the parsha of Demei. So let's say you have a big strapping fellow. He's 6'4", 250 pounds in prime physical condition, and he is the age of 20 to 50. And you have a weakling. The same thing. The guy is a 110-pound weakling. He never met Charles Atlas, if you can go ahead and date yourself, right? And the person said, Erchi Alai, it will be the same value. Why? Because it goes after years. Conversely, if you'd say Demei, then there's a difference between the strapping fellow and the weakling, because that's the price is going to be set based upon the slave market. So says Reb Achani ben Akavya, since they use the lashon of Erchin, it has nothing to do with the fact that he has no value because he's dead anyway. After this Gemara din for Misa, no one's spending a dime on this guy. But he didn't say Demei, he said Erchin. So he disagrees with the idea. Now the question is, according to him, what does he do with the pasuk Kol Sheyachram in Adam? So Reb Chananya ben Akavi Dam and Nerach, he does have value. B'fnei Shedamav Ketsuvim, because his price is set upon his years, so it has nothing to do pashit with the Gemara din. Hi kol chora my ovidlay. What does he use it for? He needs it for the following brisa. We find people who are chayav misa b'dei shemayim shenoislin mamin u'mischaper lehen, that they give money and they mischaper shenemar in koifer yushas alav. If a person has a shar and the shar goes ahead and kills a person, it's said that the pasuk says that in Rashi, the pasuk says in koifer yushas alav and doesn't he should pay that, because the pasuk really does say that he has to that he pays nefesh tachas nefesh. So l'chayri is chayiv misa, but no, it's only chayiv misa b'dei shemayim. He would not be chayiv misa b'dei adam. So in that case, we see that how does he redeem his Misa B'dei Shemayim? Through money. So I would think what? If Kaifa you placed upon him, Yochalaf B'dei Adam Cain, I might have a Havamina that what? That a person who's Chayiv Misa B'dei Adam also can buy his way out. Right? No, any Chorim, if the Chorim is B'dei Adam, Lo Yipada. The only elamis, the Gemara is going to ask on this anyway. The only elamis is chamurais shloi nitnu shigasan lekapara. Rashi brings two cases, what's called misas that are chamura. He brings a case of a person kidnaps a person for the person was selling him to slavery, or someone who makes a hole in his father or his mother. Those two cases, fellas, you don't bring a carbon chatas. The rule of thumb is if you do something yechayiv misa, usually it is a chiv or karis. Usually there's a ability to, if you did it b'shogeg, you chayiv. For example, on Shabbos is a chiv skila. If you do it b'shogeg, you bring a chatas. So in other words, it's shayach kapara. Masha'en came where it doesn't say kapara, it's not shayach kapara. So I would think the pasuk that you can't buy your way out is only a misi b'dei shemayim that's so chomer that no chatas, no kapara is stated by it, and that's why you can't buy your way out. However, Elamisas chamur shlein in l'shigas l'kapara. Misa is kalois, meaning a misa where it does say chatas, where it does say kapara. Shenit and shigagas l'kapara minayin. How do you know? Tamalema kol choram. Right? Says the Gemara kol choram. So therefore, like Akanya ben Mahalal would use the pasuk to teach me any which way you have a misa, you can't buy your way out. Now the obvious question is, we have a pasuk. The pasuk says nefesh right sayach. It says Gemara tamalema kol choram. Why do I need the kol charim? I know that a misa, even if it says kapara, I can't buy my way out of it because it says any person who kills, right, can't buy his way out. So why do I need the kol charim for? I know that from the pasuk that we began to share with. So Amarai Merchame, it's the I still need the pasuk of charim because salkadait. I mean, I would have thought Amid Aleph, Hani Mili. When we use the pasuk like sikha kaifer liftoret seach from the hargu derech aliyah, shaloi nitnu shigas lekapara. Aval hargu derech yirida the nitnu shigas lekapara a menishkal mamoyna minei menifrei k'mashmalan. Okay, guys, Gemara makes a distinction in Masechta Makis about golus, whether the person's going up or going down. So we're alluding to that. If a person kills this way aliyah, then it seems to be that he doesn't go to golus. Going down, he would go to golus. So that's shogeg. So Memela, the same thing over here. Maybe when I say that pasuk like Sikha Kaifer is only when he won't get a kapara because he's getting killed. But let's say it's for what? Because he is going to Galus, because he's killing Derech Shogeg. It would be a case similar to Galus. I would think that what? That he can buy his way out. Kol Choram, he can't buy his way out. Says the Gemara, I don't know. Amle Rava, Hamid Tani Dvechiskia Nafka. I don't need the Kol Choram for that. So I still have a problem with what is a kavya mahalel going to do with the pasuk kol choram. I'm going to prove to you I do not need it to let a guy off the hook with money, no matter which way, because we had earlier the Tana Bechizkiya that Yechayiv we say kam leibe derab mine by shogeg, and we didn't make a distinction, guys, between derech yerida and derech aliyah. So we see there's no distinction when a person dies, no matter which way you're off the hook. So why would you have a havamina that you could buy your way out? Says the Gemara. Why do I need to call charim for? I know you can't buy your way out from the Tana Bechizkiya. The Tana Bechizkiya, Maka Adam again. The pasuk Maka Behema Yishalmena. Maka Adam Maka Behema. Ma Maka Behema lechalakta. Remember, guys, Adam muad la'olam. A person's always a muad, right? Bein shoygeg lemezi. Bein miskaven l'shem miskaven. Bein derech yerida. Keyword is what we need. Ben derech yerida l'derech aliyah lepoitrei mom. And you're going to be elachayvai. Adam muad la'olam. There's no distinction whatsoever. So afmak adam, when a person kills a person, like tachlik boy, and this is when he gets off the hook. Bein shoyig lemezi, bein miskaven l'shem miskaven, bein derech yerida derech aliyah lechayvai mom and lepoitrei mom. Means getting off from this, we say kamle. So you see, by kamle, there is no difference. What shoygeg lemez derech aliyah derech yerida. So mamela, if there is no difference, why would I need kol chorim to tell me you can't buy your way out? Of course, you can't buy your way out. So back to the barn. Why does the kavya bama el? What does he do with the pasuk kol chorim? Elo amaron berachama etzrich. You still need kol chorim. Salkadait ramin. I would have thought hani mili. When do you say that a person can't buy his way out? That's heicha de sima es einoi v'har goyloi. when will you say? I guess when you say kamle, when would you say kamle? Where a person he blinds the person and he kills him. So the chiyuv of money for taking out the person's eye and death comes simultaneously, but the chiyuv of mammon is what causes his death. He goes ahead, he blinds his eye, and simultaneously it goes ahead and hits him in the chveis, in the heart. So obviously the chiyuv of money has nothing to do with the chiyuv of misa. So in that case where it's simultaneously, I might think nishkal memoina minei, take money from him. I would say so. So l'chayra, that's what I need the pasuk of kol charim for, to tell me even there you can't get off the hook. Amalei Rava hanami midach tana bechizkiya nafka. The tana bechizkiya ayin tachas ayin, like ayin v'nefesh tachas ayin, an eye for an eye, and not an eye for a nefesh for an eye. So I don't need the kol charim for that. El Amar Vashi, it's the I need the kol charim for the following. Salkadat ramin hoyel v'chidushu shechit shetayra b'knas. Afagav the mikta mishalem. Since the Torah is mechadish by knas, that even though what you get killed, I might think you pay, right? I might think you pay kamash mulan that you don't. Kamash mulan that you don't pay. You know, there's a chiddush of knas. Knas, as we said, is a set amount, or it's more or less than yichayiv. So I would have thought that I would think that you get after the hook. Kamash mulan say come by knas. That afagav the mikdal mishalem kamash mulan. Fred Gemara ula Rabba and late Rabba. The Omar, we had this before, chidushu the chid shetar b'kanas, that afagav the mikdal mishalem, right? That even when there's a situation of kamle, you're going to pay. Guys, you might recall we had the case of stealing on Shabbos, shechting on Shabbos or selling on Shabbos, and we said that if you stole on Shabbos and you shechted on Shabbos, you'd be chayev. Why? Because even you would be potter, because since you're potter on the keren, on the $100 that it's worth, you put there on the $400. What happens if you'd steal it on a Tuesday and shecht it on a what? And shecht it on a Shabbos, right? You'd be chayev. What about kamle? You're shechting it and you're being chayev knas. So we said the chiddush was like Rabbah. You only say kamle on the moment, on the keren. You don't say kamle on the knas. So like him, why do you need to put? How can you tell me kol chorim? I need kol chorim to tell me you don't pay on the kanas. No, he held that anyway. So Fred the Gemara ula Rabba dama chidushu the chid shetar b'kanas. The afagav the nikdal mishalem hi kol chayrim ayov. What is kol chorim? What does it do with the pasuk? Sabla kitana the Rabbi Chananya ben Akavia. Obviously, he must hold like the Tana of Rabbi Chananya. He uses it. But we began to share. He uses it that if a person says erchin, right? If a person says erchin, he's being taken out to the kill. And says chayrim lo yipada. He doesn't use it for a din of misa. He uses it din for the din of erchin. So obviously, he doesn't hold like Hananya. Guys, good? Okay, it's a paper trail, guys. We began this year. We're ending with this point. We wanted to know if you have a pasuk like sikha chayfal nefesh seach, right? And that tells me that you can't buy your way out. Why does kol charim also you can't buy your way out? Says the Gemara, I need it for din of erchin. Well, a caveat that what the din of erchin doesn't exist, you'd be chayiv. What do you use it for? You use it for the din of you don't say kamle by kanas. And according to the Rabbi who says you do say kamle by, you don't say kamle by kanas. What do you do with that? So he holds like the Tanakam who disagrees. The Rabbi can agree with that Tana who disagrees with a caveat. He uses kol charim for the din of erchin. Okay. Next Mishnah is again the din. We're dealing with the din of anus, and again. Very, very, very specific. Ki yimtza ish nar besula. If a man finds a nar besula, ashalo yarasa, that was not engaged, usafasa, he grabs her, he v'shachav he violates her, v'nimtzu, and you find her. So then what does he pay? He pays chamishim. We don't know how much, what denomination. This is the way we began the parak. And now we're going to go ahead into the guts of the sugya of this Indian, right? We're going to go attack this Indian. Naira shenis arsa, v'nu shenis garsha. Guys, she was engaged, meaning she was married. V'nis garsha from Erisin. So, guys, does this fit the pasuk? Listen to what the pasuk says. V'naira sheloy orasa, the naira that was not engaged. She's a basula, guys. She's being violated. Is there a din of kanas or not? You hear? Because you look at the pasuk again. Our paradigm is always like lahavda, like a math equation. You got to fit it in the pasuk. It doesn't fit. It said, "V'naira shaloya rasa," that was never engaged. This girl was engaged. She was married. She's a basula. It is true. You fit that part of the equation. She's a basula. But what's the halacha? So nairash in his arsav in his garsha, Rabbi Yosef Glili Yomer, ein lo knas, doesn't exist. No knas. Forget about it. There's no knas. Rabbi Akiva Omer, yesh lo knas. However, the knas la'atzma. There is knas, but the knas goes to her. There is knas, but the knas goes to her. So, according to Rabbi Yosef Galili, she's out of the parsha of the pasuk. According to Rabbi Akiva, the pasuk makes sense now, guys, right? Guys, look, here's the way Rabbi Akiva is going. Guys, this is important. Listen. Here's the way Rabbi Akiva is learning pshat in the pasuk. Va'anaira asher lo yarasa, that was never married, and she's violated. The money then goes to her father. But if this naira was violated, then the money goes to her. Very good. In other words, you were consistent. You weren't, the pasuk was, you kept the pasuk as it was. It didn't uproot the pasuk. The pasuk was fine. One that was never a rasa, then the money's given to the father. But the one that was a rasa, there isn't in the kanas. This guy's not getting off the hook, but she gets the money. Good. That's the way Rabbi Akiva learns the pasuk, and it's important to know that. We're going to get to it in the Gemara. My time with Rabbi Yosef Galili. What's the reason Rabbi Yosef Galili says that off the hook? Amakra asher lo yarasa, who was never engaged. Ha'arsa ein lo kanas. But if you were engaged, ein lo kanas, as we spoke out, it makes sense. Doesn't fit. Rabbi Akiva asher lo yarasa le'avia. If she no rasa, then the money goes to her father. Ha'arsa. But if she was engaged, li'atzma, then the money goes to herself. Good. Elamayata naira v'loy bageres hachanami dila atzma. Now, we're going to see later on, according to Rabbi Akiva, it says naira to exclude a bageres, right? A naila to exclude a bageres. So you should say also here that that if the money should go to her. Besula v'loy be'ula. Hachanami dila atzma. In other words, let's say the man is ma'anis a bageres. Let's play the part of the pasuk. Ki ish nair besula, ki ish bageres besula, ashalo yarasa, usafasa v'shachavima. So then the money should not go to the father, but should go to her. In other words, the din of naira goes to the father. Once you're reworking the pasuk and saying the larasa means it goes to her, so let's tweak the other dinim. Let's tweak the naira. A naira goes to the father. What happens to Shabbai Geres? It goes to her. Rather than saying that there is no knas at all. One more time. You're tweaking the pasuk, Rabbi Akiva. You're saying the following. The pasuk as is teaches me one din. If you have a naira who was never a rasa, the money goes to the father. If you have a naira who was a rasa, the money goes to her. If that's the case, when she's a naira, then it goes to the father. When she's a bageres, then it goes to her. But we know it's not true. Bageres doesn't get anything, right? So based upon Rabbi Akiva's lima, we should go ahead and tweak the pasuk totally opposite. Says the Gemara. So Momo Kasha. Elamiata, naira v'loy bageres hachanami dila atzma. Bisula v'loy be'ula hachanami dila atzma. Okay, guys, right? If she was violated as a basula, then the money goes to the father. What happens if he violates a beula? Let's say the money goes to her. Why stop? In other words, it's a very geshmak kasha, guys, right? Once you're tweaking the pasuk, don't tweak just the loyarasa part. You can tweak the naira part, and you can tweak the basula part, right? You hear what we're saying? Okay, one more time. Guys, let's look at the pasuk again. Again, if you have the Gemara, if you have it on the side of your Gemara, take a look. If not, listen to the words. Ki matze ish naira, 1, the sula 2, ashalaya rasa. So three things that she has to have. She has to be a naira, a basula, ashalaya rasa. Now you're telling me, Rabbi Akiva, ashalaya rasa, that means that there is, if that's when knas goes to the father. But if there isn't this component, then the knas goes to her. So then let's do the other components. If she's a naira, then it goes to the father. If she's a bageres, it should go to her. If she's a basula, it goes to the father. If it's a beula, it should go to her. And it's beautiful, right? Just go ahead and click it along. Beautiful. Says the Gemara inside. One more time. Rabbi Akiva, if you're going to darshan that way, naira v'loy bageres, hachanami d'latzma. Besul loy beula, hachanami d'latzma. What do you have to say? Legamri. You have to say you need like all components. Hachanami legamri. So Rabbi Akiva lechaira is slugged up. So Amlach Rabbi Akiva, Haile Yerosami Boyle Lechiditanya. I need I'll tell you why. I need Asher Yerosam for something else. Since I need it for something else, right? Since I need it for something else, then I don't have it there to tell me, well, and if it's not that, then you don't get anything. I need Asher Yerosam for something else. Why do I need it for? I need it for Gzeira Shava, and therefore I can't be Mamayit a naira completely. In other words, since I need it for Gzeira Shava, I can't take it out like the other two. Naira, Begeris I could take out. Besula, Be'ul I could take out. Asheloya Rasa I can't take out. Since I can't take it out, it's there. Asheloya Rasa goes to the father. Asher Rasa goes to her. Now, Asheloya Rasa Pratlin Naira Shenis Asib Niskarsha. Rabbi Akiva comes along Rabbi Akiva, and he says the following: Yeshla Kanas, Kanaso le'aviha. V'hadin Naising. Okay, now you have a steer in Rabbi Akiva now, guys, right? Look what Rabbi Akiva just said. Kanaso le'aviha. In our Mishnah, he said Kanas la'atzma. I'm just pointing it out now for later on. In the Mishnah, he said Kanas la'atzma, and he says Kanas le'aviha. So. But I didn't know he's saying that there's still a kanas. Since the father would marry her off, he would be zoich in kesef kedushin. So via zaka bekesef kanasa. So he's zoich in what the kesef for the kanas. Ma kesef kedushin afbishin is arsav and is karsha lavia. Af kesef kanasa afbishin is arsav and is karsha lavia. And came out tamalei mashalei rasa. So if that's the case, why do you have to tell me Asher Rasa? If guys, look, according to the Brisa, listen to this. There's no difference. According to Rabbi Akiva in the Brisa, either way, whether she was married once before or not married once before, who's getting it? The father's getting it. That's going to be the problem. Rabbi Akiva of the Brisa, right? Nothing changed. He took the pasuk out of its pasuk pshat. Guys, look at me. This is very important. If she's a naira, a basula, a sheloya rasa, father gets it. Here she's a naira, she's a basula, but she wasn't loya rasa, right? She was a rasa. Father's still getting it. So what did Rabbi Akiva do? He was moitzi the pasuk midei pshutai, right? He took it out of pasuk b'shat. Very good. Says the Gemara inside. Now, so in Kei ma tamalei ma sheloya rasa. Mufna, it's extra. It's extra. Since there's no difference whether she was a rasa or not, it's extra. It says by the pasha of violation by ananusa, it says a rasha. It says by the pasha of mefate ashalay rasa. Now the pasha of mefate says the chiyafata ish b'sula ashalay rasa b'shachav ima maher yarmenu leisha. So there it says, if a man seduces, he talks a girl, a basula, a shaloya rasa, if it veshavima, and he has to give kesef yishkol kamar basulas, right? He has to give a kesef. Now we had this earlier, right? We pointed out, fellas, that by the pasha ba'onis it says 50, but it doesn't say the denomination. By the pasha mafarte it says yishkol, it says shkolim. So that's what now we're going to go ahead. Ashalei rasa, that's the gzeira shava. Now we had this Gzeira Shava from Basula, according to Rav Papa, but he's darshaning differently. Nema kana shalei rasa, nema lahalna shalei rasa. Ma kan nun, just like by onus there's 50, af lahalan, so too by mefuta is 50. Umala halan shkolim, and just like by mefuta it's shkolim, af kan, so too by onus it's shkolim. Rabbi Akiva, my chos is da shalei rasa Gzeira Shava. Ubesula lemuute beula on the base. Ema besul gzeir shava v'shaloy rasa prat lenairish nesasim niskasha. Guys, look at me. Does it say in the parsha of Anus Besula? Yes. Does it say in the parsha of Mefata Besula? Yes. Does it say Ashalay Rasa? Yes. Does it say Ashalay Rasa? Yes. Now, what did Rabbi Kiva opt to do? Take away the Besula and learn the Ashalay Rasa. That made Rabbi Kiva say that the father still gets the money, despite the fact that she was previously married. Why don't we say the opposite? All you have to do is link them together, say Besula, Besula, Ashalay Rasa is not extra, and then a girl who was married would not get Kanas. There wouldn't be Kanas, but she was married. So Fred the Gemara Kasha, why did Rabbi Akiva opt for Ashalay Rasa? Why didn't he just word the Besula? So in other words, Ema Besula top line, Ema Besula Gzeir Shava. The word Besula is for Gzeir Shava to teach me 50 by Mefata and Shkolim by Anus. Vashalay Rasa, probably Nairish Nesasim Niskasha, that she won't get it all, like Rabbi Yossi Aglili. Says Goran Mistabra, Ashalay Rasa Gzeir Shava, Shari Ani Kairaba, Naira Besula, because she's still a Besula. In other words, even after she's married, she's still a Besula. So it would make sense to go ahead and say the Besula is not extra. The Ashalei Rasa must be extra because she's still a Besula. Adarabba, Besula Gzeir Shava, Shari Ani Kairaba, Ashalei Rasa. In other words, she was married, and it says she wasn't married. It says no. Which one, guys, is she more apt to be the same? If she was married or if she's a Be'ula? In other words, where's there a bigger change? If she's married and still a Besula, or she wasn't married and she's a Be'ula? I'd say the bigger change is the physical change from Besula to Be'ula, rather than, again, she's still a Besula, she just is not married. She was married. Says the Gemara. So the Gemara wants to know why do you opt one for the other? It says Mistabra ha'ishtani gufa. By Besula, her body changed if she was a Be'ula. Therefore, I chose to say that remains intact. V'halai ishtani gufa. And over here, she did not change. And since she did not change, Rabbi Kiva says you still have Knas, and it goes to the father, and Shloya Rasa is extra to teach me Gzeir Shava of 50 and Shkalim. Rabbi Yossi Aglili, Hai Svarim Minale. Guys, where does Rabbi Yossi Aglili know that 50 Shkalim, since he says that what? Aloya Rasa is not a Gzeir Shava. He says since she was married, she loses her Knas. Guys, since she was married, she loses her Knas, correct? So therefore, since she was married, she's losing her Knas. Where does he know this from? He doesn't have a Gzeir Shava. Nafkalei Miditanya, Kesav Yishlo Kamara Besulais, like we learned in the beginning of the parak, Sheyezeh Kamara Besulais, Umar Besulas Kazeh, that the Mefata should be like the Anus, and the Anus should be like the Mefata. Just like the Mefata is Shkolim, so too the Anus is Shkolim. Just like the Anus is 50, so too the Mefata is 50. Okay, so let's see what we have so far. Okay, we have Machloikis Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Yossi Aglili. It was if the pasuk is not fulfilled totally, is there a change? Says Rabbi Yossi Aglili, if the pasuk is not fulfilled totally in all aspects, there's no kanas. So if she was married, even though she's still a Besula, there won't be any kanas. Says Rabbi Akiva, no, there is a kanas. However, the kanas goes to the father. So Ashelay Rasa goes to the father. Ashelay Rasa, there is kanas, but it goes to her. Now the Brisa said it goes to the father. The Brisa said it goes to the father. So right away the Gemara is Kasha Rabbi Akiva. You have a Kasha Rabbi Akiva. In our Mishnah it says the kanas goes to herself, and in the Brisa it says it goes to the father. It says Trei Tanoi Baliba Rabbi Akiva. We have two Tanoim according to Rabbi Akiva. Machlokes Tanoim according to Rabbi Akiva. Okay. Outside, guys. Outside. Let's look at Rabbi Akiva of the Mishnah, and let's look at Rabbi Akiva of the Brisa. Okay. The Naira Besula, Ashelaya Rasa, it goes to the father. But if these are not fulfilled, it goes to herself. Okay, great. You have the Gzeir Shava Ashelaya Rasa. Everything's fulfilled. The pasuk did not leave Mipdei Pshutai. Everything's good. Let's Rabbi Akiva of the Brisa. Naira, check. Besula, check. Ashela Rasa, no. Where does the money go? To her father. Problem, right? The Brisa went ahead and took the pasuk out of Pshutai. Either way, it's going to the father. But despite the fact that she didn't fulfill this condition, despite the fact that she was a rasa, it's going to the father. Read the Gemara Kasha, guys, inside. Read the Gemara Kasha. Bishlema, the Rabbi Akiva, the Masnisa, who says the money goes to herself. And take it out of the pashit. It's very good. Legamri. Rabbi Akiva, the Brisa, because either way, the father's getting the money, despite the fact that the pasuk's not the same anymore, because she was a rasa. So Amr Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, don't read Asher Loya Rasa that she was betrothed. Ela Loya Rusa, she is not betrothed. In other words, she's not betrothed currently, even though she once was. In other words, we're using a little play on words, saying the word Irasa to Arusa. Remember, in the Torah, Yeshem L'Misaris is the way it's written and the way it's read. So now, you could read it Arusa. If I read it Arusa, here's, guys, watch now. Naira, check. Besula, check. Currently not married. Ashela Arusa, check. Very good. So therefore, he had the pasuk also. So his play on words, very geshmak pshat. Guys, you good? Everyone's good? We're all good. We're all Motzei Shabbos. You're all wide awake. Everyone's good. Okay. Says the Gemara, Asher Arusa, Askilahi. If she wasn't Arusa, she's a Paskila. So why do I need a pasuk to tell me that? There's no kanas. So I think that Torah is mechadish. The kanas, afagav the mikdal mishalem. If he's ma'anis or arusa, in other words, arusa means ashalo arusa now, but she wasn't arusa. You need a pasuk to tell me that she wasn't arusa. If she wasn't arusa, you mean chayiv skila. Both of them is chayiv skila. If she's a nayim urasa, it didn't skila. So you tell me the pasuk. If she wasn't an arusa, then you pay money. And if she wasn't arusa, you need a pasuk to tell me that. Of course you don't pay money. She's dead. Says the Gemara, and you don't pay. So you say kamle. Says the Gemara, no, for kanas. Again, by kanas, maybe you don't say kamle. For the Gemara, Rabbi, you're getting killed. What are you going to say? So look, Rabbi Akiva, Masni son. Obviously, he says the money must not go to what? To the father. The money goes to her. Kanas. Now, how many the Gemara is speaking about regular kanas? Who gets the kanas? Lavia. That's the Chori Pasha. The father gets it. Why is she getting it? If it's a regular, the pasuk seems to say avia. So I'm Rav Chisda, we're not speaking about a regular case of anusa. She watched that she was previously married. And the Rabbi Akiva the Brisa, and they argue in the machloikis between Rabbi Akiva in the Mishnah and Rabbi Akiva in the Brisa. Right, the one that says that goes la'atzma is Rabbi Akiva in the Mishnah. The one that says it goes la'avia. Even though she had been engaged before and married before, it still goes back to the father. The shir will be tomorrow morning.